Welcome back to a year of Final Fantasy in the month of Siren. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Final Fantasy Crystal Defenders. If you don't know what Crystal Defenders is, it's a spin-off of Final Fantasy, obviously, that originally released in Japan as Crystal Guardians. Specifically, it's a spin-off of the Final Fantasy Tactics series, and actually even more specifically, it takes cues from Final Fantasy Tactics A2, Grimoire of the Rift, which originally released on the DS. Much of the art is taken and inspired from that game, but you could say it comes from the Final Fantasy Tactics sphere of games. Final Fantasy Crystal Defenders has been released a bunch of different times, appearing on things such as iOS, which released in December of 2008. It came out on Android on January 25th, 2011. It's hit the Xbox 360 on March 11th, 2009, Xbox One on July 21st, 2016. Came out on the WiiWare April 20th, 2009, then the PS3 in July 23rd, 2009, PSP on October 29th, 2009. It's pretty much been released for everything that you could possibly imagine in the past few years. So as I said, Crystal Defenders is from the Final Fantasy Tactics series. That being said, it pretty much has zero story. What it is a tower defense game. For those that aren't familiar with the tower defense game type, it's a game that is a strategy game where you deploy people, or really towers, that do attacks and deploy these different ways of stopping waves of enemies. These waves of enemies typically travel along a path. Some of the other higher level maps, they kind of diverge and you'll get two different paths and etc. Stuff like that. But these towers stop these waves of enemies. Usually you have some kind of life counter, and in this case you have a crystal counter, so whenever an enemy reaches the end of the path, it's going to deplete the crystals, and if you run out, you lose the game. It's a very kind of arcadey style of a game. The object is obviously to kill all the waves, and in some games like this, you just want to rack up as high of a score as you can. So how a typical tower defense game would go is that whenever you start the game, you're going to be given a bulk amount of currency to buy your initial characters or towers or whatever it is to attack the enemy. As you do that, when the wave starts, you're going to be getting more and more currency as you kill the enemies, and possibly whenever you've beaten a wave or the waves have finished, you're going to get another bulk currency, and then you can buy and upgrade your towers and things like that. And that's pretty much how it goes until either you die or they die. It's pretty standard for a tower defense game. This isn't specific to this particular game, it's just how all tower defense games are normally played. Well, this isn't just a video over tower defense games. Let's talk about what makes this game unique, and really it's because it's Final Fantasy. Specifically in this game, you're going to deploy different characters as your towers. So these characters are represented by their jobs and each have their own abilities. The jobs include Dragoon, Black Mage, Time Mage, Rogues, White Monk, Soldier, Archer, Tinkerer, Berserker, Fencer, Hunter, and Flintlock. And for whatever reason, I don't know why it's a White Monk and not just a monk, but I don't know, that's what they decided to go with. Each of them have their own special attack rates and special abilities, whether they target flying animals or land animals, or enemies are weak against magic or whatever have you. Each of them has their own specific niche that they cover. The most widely criticized thing about the game that I've seen is that the game is short, but as the new releases have come along, they've added more maps and more special abilities just to kind of differentiate itself from the older games. But the thing is, like I said, this plays kind of like an arcade game, so if you think Pac-Man is short just because it has one map, you may not like this game. But if you're happy playing arcade games and you get that thrill of getting that high score, you're definitely gonna enjoy this game. If you've played a tower defense game, you know exactly what you're gonna get. So I really enjoy playing the game myself when I have a few extra minutes with my phone and I'm just waiting for something. The games go pretty quickly, maybe 5-10 minutes, or if you're on a roll, you know how that goes. You get sucked into it and it's just one more game. But this game is fairly fun. I'm actually a sucker for tower defense games like this, and this being a tower defense Final Fantasy game, I could just not recommend it more. It's a fantastic game. If you've never played a tower defense game, go ahead and give this one a try. It's really easy to get into. The barrier to entry is fairly cheap. Right now it costs less than $7 or so US as of this recording in February 2017. 2017, and even then it goes on sale very frequently. I think I bought the game on Android for like $1 or $1.50 or something like that. But other than that, there's not much to say. It's a fantastic game if you enjoy those arcadey style games. And yeah, so next time on A Year of Final Fantasy, we're gonna take a look at one of my most beloved games ever, Final Fantasy Adventure. So until next time, Crystal Warriors, keep on gaming.